4:56 in the afternoon, December 5th, 1945. A radio operator in Fort Lauderdale is half listening to routine chatter when a voice cuts through, and something in it makes him sit up straight. Not panic exactly, worse than panic, confusion.
Compasses aren't working. Both of them. The ocean below doesn't look like any ocean I've ever flown over.
And he's flown this exact route more times than he can count. 5 bombers, 14 men, a training flight, nothing unusual, supposed to be back before dinner.
Everything looks squared away. Standard run-up today. Yes, sir. Ready for takeoff.
They never landed. Not one piece of wreckage, not a life vest, not an oil slick, not a single bolt washed up on a beach somewhere. 14 men and 5 aircraft, gone. And the Atlantic kept whatever it took. You already know the name for that stretch of water. The Bermuda Triangle got turned into a punchline a long time ago. The kind of thing you roll your eyes at in a late-night documentary rerun, but pull the jokes away for a second. What's left underneath is a stack of official Navy records the government has never fully closed the book on. That's not campfire talk. That's paperwork sitting in an archive somewhere. Here's the part that should bother you more than it probably does. The man leading that flight, Lieutenant Charles Taylor, wasn't some nervous new recruit. 2,500 flight hours. He'd done this route so many times it was practically muscle memory. And yet, there he was, radioing back.
I don't recognize the coastline underneath me.
Flight leader, this is FT-74. Do you copy?
Everything looks wrong out here. We cannot find the code.
He told the base. Not scared, just off, later, colder. He didn't know where they were anymore. So they sent help. A Martin Mariner, 13 men aboard, flying out to find them. It never got there. A ship in the area reported a fireball in the sky, right around where that rescue plane should have been. Maybe it was a fuel leak. That model had a known history of them. Maybe. Nobody's fully sure. What is sure is this: 6 aircraft, 27 men, 1 night, and almost nothing to bury. Bad luck happens. One incident, you shrug and move on. But this wasn't one incident. Rewind 9 years. The USS Cyclops, 540 feet of Navy steel, over 300 people aboard, sailing from Barbados to Baltimore. No storm on record big enough to take down a ship that size. No wreckage, no SOS. Still, to this day, it remains the largest single loss of life in U.S. naval history, with zero explanation attached to it. Or the Sao Paulo, a stripped-down battleship being towed off to the scrapyard in 1951. It snaps loose from its tow line in that same water and vanishes with the small skeleton crew still on board, trying to keep her afloat. Gone. No trace. Different ships, different decades, different reasons to be out on the water in the first place. And that's actually the unsettling part. There's no single thread connecting these disappearances, which means there's no single fix, no simple villain to point at. Just a pattern of absence, over and over, for almost 100 years. Now, science does have real answers for at least some of it, and credit where it's due. The explanations aren't nothing. Rogue waves in that region have been measured at over 40 feet, tall enough to snap a hull before a crew even gets a hand on the radio. There are genuine methane pockets under parts of that seafloor, and lab tests suggest a big enough release could thin the water so fast a ship just drops, fast, with barely any debris left behind to find. And that stretch happens to be one of only 2 places on Earth where magnetic north and true north line up perfectly, which for older ships relying purely on a compass could have meant drifting hundreds of miles off course without anyone noticing until it was too late. None of that's invented. It's real science, published, peer-reviewed in most cases. But here's what almost never makes it into the neat version of this story. Not one of those explanations has ever actually been caught happening. No methane eruption has been recorded under a sinking ship in real time. Nobody's ever photographed a rogue wave taking down the Cyclops. The theories are solid. Proof is a different word entirely, and proof is what's missing. That gap between plausible and proven is exactly where this story has been sitting for 80 years, refusing to close itself. For what it's worth, both the U.S. Navy and the Coast Guard have gone on record saying the triangle doesn't actually have more incidents than any other equally busy stretch of ocean its size. That's their official line, and it's worth taking seriously. Here's something else worth knowing. Lloyd's of London, the insurance giant whose entire job is calculating risk down to the decimal, has never once charged extra to insure ships crossing that water. No superstition in that building, just numbers. And the numbers, apparently, don't scream danger. So, which is it? An overblown legend, inflated by 50 years of sensational books padding their page count, with incidents that happen nowhere near the actual triangle, or a real, still unexplained cluster of tragedy that statistics haven't caught up to yet? Probably a bit of both, if you're being honest about it. Yes, the myth got bloated. Writers threw in disappearances from thousands of miles away just to make the body count sound scarier. That part's fair to call out. But scrape all that exaggeration off, and what's underneath doesn't disappear with it. 27 men who took off on a clear afternoon and never touched land again. 300 sailors on a steel ship that should have survived anything the ocean threw at it, gone without so much as a flare fired into the sky. Somewhere down there, the answers are still sitting on the seafloor. Aircraft panels, hull sections, maybe recorders from decades before anyone thought to make them waterproof. Parts of that stretch of Atlantic run deeper than 27,000 feet. Deeper than Everest is tall, cold enough, and dark enough to keep a secret. Longer than almost anywhere else on the planet, until somebody reaches that far down. Until something finally gets pulled up into daylight. The triangle stays exactly what it's always been. Not a monster, not a curse. Just quiet. But not every impossible story ends in silence. Sometimes, years later, investigators finally uncover the answer and discover that a disaster everyone thought was impossible was actually caused by one tiny mistake hidden in plain sight. One of the most remarkable examples of that story is waiting for you on screen now.